Last night, I finally got around to watching Alien Romulus, and one question I can't shake loose is, was Andy right? Fair warning, this video will contain spoiler elements for Alien Romulus, so proceed as you will. Now, I don't ask this as a hypothetical, but I ask this of myself as well as of you in the dear hopes that it actually opens up an important dialogue, because it's one we dearly need to have. Now, what do I mean by this admittedly simplistic, was Andy right? Quite simply, this movie very deftly explored the concept of handling the trolley problem over to artificial constructs with the instructions of keeping human beings safe. And after Andy received his upgrade, but prior to receiving new directives, he exhibited cold and calculating practices to determine likelihood of survival in any given situation, and then weighing that against the number of people on either side of the scale to find out which way it tipped. I specify after Andy's upgrade, but before his new directives, because once he started acting in the best interest of the company, it just became Weyland-Yutani doing Weyland-Yutani shit. Of course, the argument could be made that even the company is continually operating in the best interest of grander humanity, even at the sacrifice of entire ship crews or colonies, but that becomes so grand a scope as to be a bit nebulous. Whereas the situation with Andy is brought in on a narrow enough scope to engage with this not so hypothetical with brutal clarity. As Kay pounded against the door, begging to be let in, Andy refused to allow entry, understanding that the xenomorph was waiting for him to do just that, which would get everybody killed, including Kay. This obviously upset folks as Kay got attacked.
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Okay, then.
Several instances presented themselves in this manner, and each time Andy did what he was told, acted in the best interests of Rain. This is not the first time we've encountered this question in media, but I think it's an important discussion because we are facing the very real elements of needing to decide this for ourselves. One of the more signature moments in media this quandary was displayed for me was the Star Trek original series episode, The Galileo 7, where Spock leads a small crew to find a way off a planet their shuttle has crashed on. At every turn, emotionless Spock acts in the best interest of the crew. Survival. And at every turn, his human crew expresses increasing frustration at his cold and unfeeling calculations.
Spock, remind me to tell you that I'm sick and tired of your logic.
I believe there was supposed to be a bit more siding with the humans than I actually feel in watching that episode. In actuality, I kind of just want to slap them all and tell them, say yes, sir, and get to fucking work. I understand the no man left behind mantra, but when the math doesn't add up, there's really no getting around that. When your shuttle simply weighs too much to break out of the planet's atmosphere, bringing the body of your dead crewmate along for the ride ventures from the illogical to the downright irresponsible. Watching that episode, I couldn't help but side with Spock, and watching Alien Romulus, I couldn't help but side with Andy. It may suck, and it may absolutely tear the heart out of your chest, figuratively, which is an important distinction in this franchise, but there does come a time to recognize survival can be cold, and the best you can sometimes hope for is ensuring there is a tomorrow to shed your tears. I consider this discussion very important, and not in the abstract, but salient, right here and right now. As we embrace technological autonomy and we inject this technology into more and more of our daily lives, we need to have these answers, because the questions will be forthcoming whether we're prepared or not. Self-driving cars are not as ready for prime time as we may have thought a few years ago, but it's still here in one form or another and will only be getting more and more integrated and perfected. So when a chaotic situation presents itself on the road and your car must make a determination on hitting a brick wall resulting in the likely death of its passengers or swerving into a group of school children, the decisions it makes will be based on the programming and directives we provide it. I don't know about you, but the thought that we are entrusting these decisions to machine learning AI controlling a 2-ton hunk of knee-high metal, well, frankly, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But ignoring uncomfortable topics does not make them go away. Indecision, by its nature, is a myth. In avoiding decisions, we only defer them to another time and oftentimes to another person, but inevitably a decision will be made. So when I see the landscape we're currently standing at the foot of, and I see art doing what it does best, generating relevant conversations, I can't help but avoid shying away and instead choose to face them head on. Which brings me back around, was Andy right? I believe he was. When we enter into the concept of entrusting machines to determine the value of a singular life, we enter into very dangerous waters. Hell, it's dangerous for even people to start deciding one life versus another based on multitudes of factors, average life expectancy, moral stand... Hi. average life expectancy, moral standing, education level, profession, health, wealth, etc. Is the life of a 14-year-old with a history of criminal acts worth more or less than a 55-year-old cancer researcher? I really don't think it's up to us to determine the worth of an individual, so it certainly can't be up to the machines we program. I feel the best way to judge the value of a person within the confines of a cold survival situation is simply completely on equal footing, which is why in Andy's calculations of opening the door or not, with every individual equating the same, the door was right to stay closed. McCoy, and especially Lieutenant Boma, may have given Spock a whole heaping helping of emotional browbeating, but he got most of them off that planet, and eventually, later on down the road, proved he even calculated his own life with equal measure, as he demonstrated the needs of the many do outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. But what do you think? Was Andy right? I'm interested to hear your take on this very specific topic because, as I've said, it's a conversation we need to have, or it will be had for us by others instead. Take care. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.